What's up, fight fans? And we are back at it with another edition here at Round One Sports TV. I'm always your host, Edwin. Where the wall fights start. Round one. Damn, my sound effect. I hate when they do that. They don't click on. But we got an amazing show for you here today. Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to hit that like button. You know what it is. Where the wall fights start.
Round one.
You know it. We got a lot to talk about today in the world of boxing. We watched the Devin Haney, Brian Norman fight. There was a lot said over social media. I would like to touch on that too, but also on Naoya, the monster Inoue. His kid brother just fought in Japan. He fought Tenshi Nasakawa. It was a great fight. We're gonna break down that fight and what this means about Naoya Inoue in the title. And why is he Japan's number one fighter? All that and more. Anything you want to talk about, drop in the comments. Feel free. And let's get right into this episode. What's up, Tim? Timmy, just you got Pete title. I don't. Just to let you know, you got beat in the title, not beat. Hmm. Maybe he's referring to the fight, I guess, I fought in. I don't know. Anyway, I just noticed I didn't even have my screen on. So, fight fans, thank you for tuning in. Uh, there's a few things I wanted to talk about in the world of boxing. And Naoya, the monster Inoue, is one of the top persons I wanted to talk about in boxing. One of the situations in boxing as we watch a fighter go throughout his career, right? Soon, in the beginning of your career, you have to prove yourself, right? And throughout your career, you start to defy yourself by the champions you beat. Naoya the Monster Inoue had became a world champion in only his sixth professional fight. In only 8 professional fights, he was a 2-division world champion. That title he defended 7 times before moving up again and contesting in his third weight division, right? So he did a lot of interesting things. He entered the World Series of Boxing. He walked out of that tournament with the Muhammad Ali trophy and 3 belts. Naoya the Monster Inoue is on his 25th consecutive world title fight in a row. In a row. His last 5 fights have been for 4 belts or more. Right? So he has, I believe, right now, currently 5 title defenses, right? Well, I think it's 4. Let's see. We can count it down, right? Forgot what it was. He's on a tear. And the reason why I'm bringing up a lot of everything that brings up Naoya anyway, because I'm going to get to my point of why I'm talking about him, right? Let me just look this up to be facts. Okay, his last fight was with Marlon Tapales, right? So that he put up all 4 belts 1 time. Roman Cardenas, all 4 belts up 2 times. Yi Young Kim, all 4 belts up 3 times. TJ Doheny, all 4 belts 4 times. And Luis Pantera Nari, all 4 belts 5 times. Then he won the belts with Marlon Tapales, where he became the only champion in the super bantamweight division. Now, rightfully so, Naoya Inoue has, to this point, has had an pretty impressive career, I would say the least. He has captured all 4 belts in 2 separate weight divisions. He has 4 weight division that he currently has world titles in, and he jumped past 1 weight division. So he's actually fighting from where he started at 108 pounds. He's fighting at a 122. That makes 5 weight divisions. He only has titles in 4 because he bypassed 1. But this is his 5th weight division. So when people are saying, why doesn't he just move up to 126? Why doesn't he go just do it? You would understand that respectfully so would be his 6th and 7th weight division. I don't know any man that's Superman that can do things like that. Floyd stopped at 5 weight divisions. Oscar De La Hoya, Manny Pacquiao have 6. And that's the best. That's the cream of the crop. That's the cream of the crop right there. No sooner than Naoya Inoue becomes what I believe Japan's greatest boxer in this era, in the shit, he's a generational talent. I think he's Japan's greatest boxer ever, period. Ever successful boxer. And no sooner that he accomplishes that, here comes the next wave that, if we want to be honest, should be paying homage to a fighter like Naoya Inoue, but they don't. What do? They quickly draw these fighters up and say, this is Japan's best fighter, Junto Nakatoni. This is Japan's best fighter, um, um, uh, Tenshishi, um, what's it? How do you say his name? Tenshi Nasukawa, the one that fought his kid brother. They were talking him up with only 7 fights. Well, 6. He came into his brother with 7, right? Like, he was gonna be better than Naoya, the monster Inoue. Then there was another fighter on the card, Mikano, right? That Japanese fighter. They said that one was gonna beat Naoya Inoue. And lo and behold, 2 of the Japanese fighters that people were already starting to talk up just lost. Just lost. And he couldn't even get by Naoya Inoue's kid brother, let alone Naoya Inoue. But see, this is what happens in sports. When you're the best, and you're the best for too long, soon the fans will start to turn on you. They'll start to look to the next shiny thing. And whether all fans like to admit it or not, everybody likes an underdog story or the new guy coming up. When they see these Japanese fighters coming up, they start to think, hey, look how this guy's knocking these people out. Look at this, look at that, right? And the other night, we just saw a fight by Devin the Dream Haney versus Brian Norman Jr. And that was a clear fight that sometimes fans get they get captivated in the moment with the fighter. They start talking up the fighter like that fighter is him. And there's some of the boxing world that's trying to tell you, well, he's a good fighter, but he never fought people on the skill level of these other guys. And they're like, no. They're not trying to hear it. Same thing they're doing with the other Japanese fighters with the monster Naoya Inoue. They're quickly trying to tell you he's not him. Really? So in Japan, they fight for the Junto Nakatoni trophy. Do they? Is there a Junto Nakatoni trophy for the night? Is there a Tenshini trophy? Is there a Mikano trophy? Because if there isn't, I tell you what, there's a Naoya Inoue trophy. Fighters from Japan have already won it. They've competed for it in the ring on a Naoya Inoue undercard. They fought for the Naoya Inoue Japanese trophy. It was an award presented to the fighter that won $100,000 also for that night. But that's currently why he's an active boxer. So he's not even retired. They already got a trophy you can win. And he's still boxing. Do they got the Junto trophy? No? It's because they're not on his level. Yet, they're going to say, these are the guys that are going to beat him. Look, I'm in agreement that soon, if Naoya Inoue doesn't hang up his gloves, there's going to be a young, hot star somewhere. Doesn't technically have to be a Japanese fighter. It could be a Filipino fighter, Mexican, Puerto Rican. It could be anybody, but it'll be in his division. It'll be a young fighter coming up, just as fast, just as quick. The Bam Bam Rodriguez-ish styles, right? And he's going to come up, and if Naoya Inoue doesn't play his cards carefully and understands his position in boxing and how he's aging in boxing, because Father Time is undefeated. We all know that. You can't do this forever. But it's up to the boxer to know when to hang it up. And as we all know, all fighters don't retire well. They have to understand that when they retire and they hang it up, they're choosing to protect the legacy they built. By going in the ring and fighting a professional match, you have a potential of adding losses. Although Manny Pacquiao gave a good account of himself against Mario Barrio, that's another loss on his resume. So when you go to look him up to argue status for GOAT status, Manny Pacquiao is pushing himself further and further out the picture with every loss. Because you're not going to sit there and convince me that a guy with 9 losses got knocked out 3 times is the GOAT. You got 9 losses. You should no longer be in the conversation. You must realize what you're protecting. It's your life's work. And some of these boxers don't retire well. That's what I do not ever want to see from Naoya Inoue. I don't want to see him fighting all the way up at 45, getting knocked out of the ring. He needs money. He's broke. He had all this money. We can't understand why just a short few years later, they went through $100 million. Hundreds of millions of dollars. And within 10 years of your retirement, you're broke? What the hell were you buying? Space shuttles? Gold horses? Like, what the hell? $100 million? You should never want for anything else in your life. But yet, some of these guys are back in the ring. Put me in, coach. Manny Pacquiao. Don't ask me because I have no idea how Manny Pacquiao got in that situation. And I saw like a documentary on him. I still don't understand it. He literally used to stand there in the corner and just pass out money to like hundreds and thousands of people. And their government can't help him. It's just like Joe Louis. You guys know the Joe Louis story, right? And he ended up waiting doors at a hotel. Joe Louis paid like mad shit to like colleges and everything. He helped actually the government or his city or something. He paid like some tax or something for them. Yo, they showed him no love. Like, oh man, it's heartbreaking to see sometimes. But you got to protect that. You got to protect your legacy, your finances. You didn't go in there for all these years and take all these kind of punches to the head to end up broke, man. That's why I feel like for fighters like Felix Trinidad and shit like that, and maybe Felix Trinidad can kind of get like a Mike Tyson resurgence, maybe a close enough payday if he gets back in there, because I know we'll back him. You know, maybe he can get in there with Oscar De La Hoya one more time. Yo, that'll be dope as shit. I'll pay to see that. Oscar De La Hoya and Felix Trinidad fight again right now. Shit, I'll pay to see that. You know, put a little coin in Felix Trinidad's pocket, just like we did Mike. You know, uh, but they gotta protect that. So Naoya Inoue right now, I believe, and I believe the consensus believe this too as well. And by the eye test, he is Japan's best fighter. He is by far, by far. And every time the next Japanese fighter comes out hot, electric, knockouts, they quickly try to put him up against Naoya the Monster Inoue. And you can see that there's levels to this, where his kid brother Takuma Inoue just showed that very valuable lesson to Tinchi. Tinchi came into the fight. He got 7 professional fights now, right? Or coming into the fight, he had 7 professional fights. He has 8 now, right? Because he has a loss. So, you know, he, although he was good, really good, Takuma Inoue was a bit more seasoned. He dealt with his power. He moved his head. He outboxed him. Period. Period. He showed that kid his mistakes. I know that Tinchi's gonna go back. He's gonna look at the tape. I was saying it throughout the fight that I felt that Tinchi was waiting to try to like knock out Inoue, Takuma, and he fell in love with his power. Straight up, that's exactly what I saw it. It's what happened. He was just trying to hit him with that big shot. That's it. And Takuma was on to him. He was on to him. He moved very well. I've always said this, that if you were like to like blindfold their face and shit and just show me a picture of them training from the back, a video of Takuma and Inoue from the back, I couldn't tell them apart, because they move like each other. But as soon as they start fighting, you can see the difference. As soon as Naoya Inoue and Takuma start fighting, you can see where what separates his older brother from the younger brother. And just because, I had a habit of doing this to myself. Just because Naoya Inoue is his older brother doesn't mean that Takuma has the same work ethic as Naoya Inoue. Just because Shingo's his father, maybe they can't get him to go to the gym. Maybe he's in the gym and out early. Maybe he doesn't absorb out of all the hours of training how Naoya Inoue takes in. Not all students learn the same. Not all students pick up on a move like that. It doesn't matter if Shingo's your father, Naoya Inoue's your brother. That doesn't make you a superior fighter. I wish it worked like that, but it doesn't. But as far as his kid brother, he does, and I've been telling people, he does box very well. He's just not a heavy puncher. I'm pretty sure if Naoya Inoue can teach his kid brother the fucking the touch of death, he would. I'm pretty sure he told him, Takuma, hit like this. And it just, there's an understanding that goes on in Naoya Inoue's body for that small frame. The snap, the flow of the blood in his body, the end of the punch, that like that. The power of generating power at a small distance of years of punching things like this. Boom, boom, and generating so much momentum from here to there with very little wind up or very little build. Naoya Inoue can snap it from here like that and knock your lights out. He has an understanding with all the muscles and the little muscles in his body that most people don't understand. There's something that's going on while he's throwing that punch mechanically that he's doing that he may not be able to translate. Like, he might not notice. I just do it. You don't got to train him to do it. You don't got to tell him to do it. He just does it. And he has an understanding of punching that most humans do not possess. It would take years. If not, you would never learn how to throw a punch like that. But it is teachable. Yes, you can learn how to punch a bit harder with technique. Yup. And timing beats speed. Placement of a punch can knock your lights out. It's always the punch you don't see. That's the one that hurts you. It's not the punch you see that you can brace for. It's the one you don't. You see? And it's crazy because Naoya Inoue lets you see the punch. You see how he knocked out Yi Young Kim? Straight up looking right at him. Look, here it is. Yo, you know? Um, he's powerful. He's very, very powerful. And as soon as Naoya Inoue fights um uh Alan David Picasso, he completes his contract with Riyadh, Turkey. He honors that. He goes out there, gives them their fight. He fights the Mexican undefeated fighter, number one contender. Nothing under that is suffice for Naoya Inoue. The last number one contenders all ran for the hills or took side money to prolong the ass whooping. You know, MJ, he took that side money and then went in the ring with him, still got his ass whooped, still didn't win not one single round against the monster. Yeah, that guy. Anyway, um, that's all he fights. Naoya Inoue only fights the best and the top guys. And in his situation, there are no more champions. The only guys he could fight is number 1, 2, and 3. That's it. It's all he got because he owns everything. And for them to come out and already say that Naoya Inoue is not the best fighter Japan has, that's crazy to think. Because there's no fighter in Japan right now that's mirroring him. You know, I can say that Junto is probably the closest because he has multiple divisions in titles. I think he has 3 divisions, world titles. He just vacated his belt and he's moving up, which in fact, Tomoe Inoue fought for his vacated WBC 118-pound title. You know, it's funny, right? You go to BoxRec and you look up Naoya the Monster Inoue, right? And in his division, it is such a ghost town, right? The 122. And what I mean by a ghost town is there is no other current interim, regular, champion, nothing. Everything else there is vacated. You know how like the WBO, the IBF will have their, what do they call them? Like they have multiple different words. I'm telling you, there is nobody else that's a champion in 122 for no belt, for nothing. The IBF is vacant. The WBO is vacant. The WBC interim is vacant. The WBO interim is vacant. Nobody wants to smoke. Nobody's even picking up a belt to even get remotely close to a world title fight to him. No, because on an accident, be like, yeah, I got the interim. You're next for Naoya anyway. What do you mean? Whoa, 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 whoa. Like, why? Yo, that is hilarious. I haven't seen a king that dominant in a division in a long time, man. In a long time. I think that Naoya, the Monster Nui, is going to prove to the world 2026 is going to be a big year for the Monster. A big year. And I'm calling it right now. It's going to be a huge year for him. I think we're going to get even a better fight than Junto Nakatoni. Yeah. Unfortunately, my opinion on that fight right there, I'll give you my opinion. I'm going to tell you right now. Junto is not going to do as good as you think he is against the Monster Nui. No, he's not. All his attributes that you think are going to come into the fight, like his height, his length, none of that shit is going to matter. He's not going to be as fast as Naoya in a way, and he's going to quickly see real fast in the fight that you're not going to be able to do whatever you do against those other guys against him. And if you don't have a good game plan and a good mental fortitude, quickly Junto's gonna be like every other fighter that ever fought Naoya the Monster Inoue. And I mean every fighter that's ever fought him. You're gonna be surviving, trying to survive. You're gonna forget what you were in there doing. You're just gonna be reacting. You're gonna be trying to punch with him, and you're just gonna be winging shots. And it's gonna be up to him if he makes a mistake. That's what's gonna happen. There's no point in this fight that I believe that Junto possesses anything that really makes me fearful for Naoya Inoue. I actually think it's worse. You know why? Because the better you are as a boxer and a technician, the worse it is for you, to believe it or not. And because Junto is so good, so powerful, so technical, I think that is going to be his downfall. Believe me when I tell you, Naoya Monster Inoue lives in the pocket. He lives in sequences. He loves to end his opponents with flashy knockouts in between their punches. There's a lot of fighters that were really fast that I even think got a better jab than Junto, Stephen Kubo Fulton. I even believe there were smarter punchers in punching situations, Nonito Donaire. Naoya the Monster Inoue has fought very talented fighters. He even fought guys that know how to survive. Paul Butler, tough, durable fighters. Jason Maloney was a good technical, boxer, right? Durable fighter. These guys, I remind you, they were all world champion, 13 world champions. And throughout all the 13 world champions he fought collectively, all 13 of them won about 4 rounds against him. 4 rounds. Arguably. That's it. Scooter, he didn't win no rounds. Donaire didn't win none in the second fight. Donaire won a couple rounds in the first fight. And because of that, you got 2 rounds because of Donaire, right? And Maloney didn't win no rounds. 0. Yo, he wiped down these champions. Like, seriously. Look, statistically, we've talked about this. You have to accept experience in boxing. Experience is a very, very valuable thing. It's the one thing in boxing you cannot buy. It's the one thing you have to earn. And the way you get experience in boxing is fight by fight. Am I right? Okay. So, when you're a 19-year-old kid and they put you in your first world title fight and they alert your opponent, they tell your opponent, hey, we're going to put you in against this 19, 20-year-old kid, right? First world title fight. And they alert him and they tell Adrian Hernandez, yo, you want to take this fight? Adrian Hernandez, right? He had was his record 29-2? Adrian Hernandez was a world champion for over 4 years at that point. He's got 29, 30 professional fights. He's never been knocked out in his entire career. And he gets a phone call. This 5'5" Japanese dude with 6 professional fights wants to fight you. Oh, by the way, he just turned 20, right? He's a kid. And he wants to fight you for your world title. If you were a champion with over 29 fights and never been knocked out in your career, you've been the champion for over 4 years, and they call you to fight a guy with a 6-0 record, would you take that as a disrespect? But you beat everybody in the division up until that point. You beat everybody you needed to beat. So you say, hey, whatever, I'll fight this dude. And experience is something you cannot buy, right? So when you look at a fight like this, I would have to go with Hernandez. Boy, I tell you, Hernandez didn't win 5 seconds in that fight against that little Japanese 6-0 fighter, 5'5". What's really impressive, right, is that he fights Omar Narvaez, right? Omar Narvaez, he has a big record, 43 fights, one loss. 43 fights, one loss. So what do? You jump up from 108 to 115 pounds. You bypass the 112, 108. He didn't even enter the 122, the 112, because Chocolatito didn't want to fight him. So he bypasses that. And you know what he uses for an acclimate, a tune-up fight? He says, I challenge the world champion. Omar Narvaez, I repeat, his record was 43 fights, one loss. The only loss he had at that time, he lost against Nonito Donaire. He went 12 rounds with him. That man has never been knocked out in 43 professional fights. Even in his loss, he was never stopped. Here comes this kid with 7 professional fights. 7 professional fights. And he wants to challenge you for your world title. Oh, by the way, he's jumping up 2 weight divisions to fight you. 5'5", little 20-year-old Asian dude. He must have looked at these people and was like, are you sure you want to do this? You want me to bust this little Japanese dude's ass? You really want me? Oh, fine. Put him in the ring with me. I'm going to show you what kind of champ. Omar Narvaez didn't win 3 seconds in that fight. He was so outclassed by this little kid, 20-year-old kid. It wasn't even funny. And Omar went the distance with Nonito Donaire, the Hall of Famer. The distance. And we know what happened with Nonito Donaire, Naoya, and the Monster Inoue. He lost to him not once, but twice. And the second time was worse. He got brutally knocked out. Talk about there's levels to this and experience. Naoya, the Monster Inoue, showed that at a very young age, he was very well ahead of the curve. He was well polished coming out the gate. In the beginning, I got to be totally honest. I'm always transparent. I didn't believe it. I didn't believe that Naoya, the Monster Inoue, was who he was. When he beat my Puerto Rican fighter, Emmanuel Rodriguez, in the World Series boxer in the second round of the tournament, I was a believer then. I was still a bit skeptical, but I was a believer in what I was watching. I was only wondering if it was true. Like, there was always a stigma with guys on that side of the pond. Here in America, yo, I got to admit, we can be cocky, arrogant, brashy, and we have the right to. We have the most world titles in all of boxing history. So it's a custom that you would hear in boxing. You got to cross the pond to fight the best. Fight under the biggest lights, the world stage, and fight the best that the boxing world has to offer. And it's typically on these lower weight divisions, the glamour divisions, America's game. That's usually where we're at. For years, the last 20, 25 years, besides Deontay Wilder, the heavyweight division's been the Brit side and up that way, north of the equator, right? Okay. So when he started coming over, like, I was nervous a little bit in the scooter fight, but I was confident in Naoya Inoue. I had Naoya Inoue in the fight. Matter of fact, I've never betted against him. There's no need to. You know, I with every fight you get nervous or you get those butterflies because you want your guy to show the world what you see. You know, and the thing is that the special ones, if you watch long enough, even a blind man can see that man is nice. Naoya the Monster anyway truly got skills that I wish I can translate that to my fighter. I wish I could say to you, I would be able to do some shit like that. You know, he's just too much, man. You know, the last time I seen something like that was Floyd. Floyd. That was, you know, their styles are not the same, but their understanding of the fight game is the same. They're both masters and geniuses in the fight game. Floyd and Naoya Inoue. Yeah. They really can adapt with any style. You know, not all fighters can adapt to all styles. That's bullshit. If that was so, Brian Norman Jr. would have adapted to Devin Haney. He didn't. And Devin Haney didn't look like he changed much at all for me in that fight. Devin Haney did not change his fighting style at all. As a matter of fact, I got multiple fights you can go and watch. Go watch the Yuri Gamboa fight. He fought Brian Norman Jr. the same way. Go see him watch Devin fight Regis Progress. He fought Brian Norman Jr. the same exact way. Same exact way. Same check hook that Devin had. Same check hook that hit Yuri Gamboa. Same check hook that hit Regis Progress. Same check from Devin. He throws it exact. He's been doing that check hook like that forever. He threw it against Loma, but Loma's team and Loma did his homework. Loma was onto that shit and Loma was blocking it. But Devin's hit everybody the same Devin. The only thing was that Devin was a bit less active with his punch selection. It looked like he was trying to will himself in the fight. He knew he could throw the punches. He knew he was fast. He knew he was stronger. He just had to convince himself that he was him. That's what it looked like to me. It was like Devin was performing well, but to the untrained eye, he was fighting against himself. Although he got the victory and everything, Devin still looked like he wasn't all there. There's another version of Devin that could have been more dominant. As dominant as he whooped Brian Norman Jr.'s ass, there is a better version of Devin still. I know it. I know what I'm watching. I know what I see. He beat the shit out of Brian Norman Jr. Now, I was talking with a couple of friends of mine, and they said to me they believe that Brian Norman Jr. might have took a paycheck to take a dive or something or to get his ass whooped. If I didn't know Brian Norman Jr. Sr. and them, I could say that's a possibility, but not them guys. Then if you do the math, let's just do the math. You're already paying him $3 million for the purse, which the promotion company is paying him that. So that don't come out. He's already getting that. So you're not giving him that. So on top of the $3 million that he's already getting, how much would you pay him to take a dive? So how much money would that come out of your purse? Because you would have to actually be paying him. So I hope you would give him more than $3 million because he's already getting that. So now we're talking upwards of $6 million for what? How much is the belt worth? Now you got to sell that. So you mean to tell me you would roughly have to pay him $10 million, I would think, to at least throw a fight. So how much are you making? And where are you getting revenue from this for him losing? Do you own web gambling sites? So Devin Haney owns Las Vegas, and Las Vegas is going to give Devin Haney a cut out of the money they got in gambling. No. He would only be paying out. And since that fight by itself wasn't the main event, you weren't making main event money. I don't see a way they could pay Brian Norman Jr. to take a dive. It wouldn't add up. Because the fight itself wasn't worth that much money. You would be crazy to give him that much money. Brian Norman Jr. just lost. He was outboxed. When you see someone lose a fight now, or you see somebody get outboxed, you can't go all the time into conspiracy theory. You got to add the element, he lost the fight. He just lost the fight. When is it ever going to be for you, this guy just loses? Or this guy, when the guy loses, when your guy wins in your head. Because you don't got to start conspiracy theory no more because your guy won. So he lost. It's the only way some people see the guy losing, when the guy wins. When the guy they didn't expect to win, that's when the conspiracy theories come out. That's when they're like, no, it's because of this. And I'm on the line. No, just do your own homework. Your very own homework. I guarantee you, at some point in that Brian Norman Jr. fight, you yourself said Devin Haney fought the better of the competition. Who the fuck did Brian Norman Jr. fight? You yourself probably said that. You knew it. You knew he didn't fight no top guys. That Stan Leones was the best guy? Well, Jin was not that guy. Okay? So we knew that. We knew he didn't have no Loma, no Linares. You know what I'm saying? On his record. Shit, no Yuri Gamboa. He's a 3-division world champion, that man. Right? We knew that Brian Norman Jr. didn't have those guys. But yet, we convinced ourselves he was him. We convinced ourselves. We talked it up so much that before the fight started, it was a 50-50 fight across the board, even in Vegas. Even in Vegas. Sometimes, and Devin knew it. Why you think Devin and Bill took the fight? Why you think? Come on, man. You think Bill Haney was going to set his son up to lose again? Y'all knew it, but you didn't want to believe it because you were captivated in the moment, and you were saying that he's the next thing, the next new thing, and that what he needed to do was to beat somebody like Devin Haney. That if he could pull that off, then that would set the Brian Norman legacy of fire, because that would also be a champion he beat. Not only a champion, he was an undisputed champion once upon a time. So if he could beat Devin Haney, that would say a lot. But when the truth is revealed in boxing right before your eyes, and Devin Haney just shows that there's levels to this, people are they're not gonna accept it. Why? Because what were they told? What were they been told for months, if not months, years? Devin Haney's pillow-fisted. He's boring. That's what you were told. How can a guy that's pillow-fisted, boring, no good, no fun to watch, how could he do that to Brian Norman Jr.? No, you guys can't believe you were led astray. Rather than accepted that you were lied to, and that you didn't listen to the people that were trying to tell you the truth about Devin, that this boxing shit is ups and downs. Yeah, you be on a big high rise. Some guys be undefeated for a while, but then there's some lows. And then you got to get back up. That's how this game is. But rather than admit that you were lied to, that Devin Haney wasn't as pillow-fisted as you thought, and I've been screaming this for a very long time. I told you guys. Did you see Regis Progress's face after the fight? He bubbled him the fuck up. Regis Progress is a tough guy. He's a durable, strong, cocky dude. Not the best skilled, right? But enough to be two-time world champion. I'll tell you that much. So he's got skills like that. He's beating 75% of the guys in the division. 70%. At one time, it was 75, right? Okay. And Devin sat him down. Devin can crack. Loma knows how to roll with punches. Ryan Garcia, he never caught up to. And he hit Ryan Garcia with one shot in that fight that wobbled Ryan Garcia, and Ryan Garcia bashed his hands together. Remember that? Devin hit Ryan one time. Boom! And Ryan went. For as big as Austrian the fuck out he was, he got hit and he did the chicken leg for a minute and then he got himself together. And that was one punch. And I try to tell you, watch where you get your source from. Everybody that was calling Devin Haney pillow-fisted never entered the ring with him. Tank Davis said Devin Haney's pillow-fist. T.O. said he's pillow-fisted. Shakur Stevens said he's pillow-fisted. None of these guys ever fought him. They've never been in the ring with him. They've been in sparring, but you mean to tell me sparring with 2 times the size gloves and fucking headgear? No, you're not feeling the effects of his full punch. No, put 8-ounce gloves and take off that headgear. Now we're talking. Plus, into the factor that everything's on the line and your family's watching you. Now go. You never fought Devin like that. So how the fuck are you guys know that he's pillow-fisted? How does T.O. know that? He's pillow-fisted. And I was just like, that's just another Tank Davis ploy. Oh, he's an email champion. He wasn't the first email champion to be notified. But it's just, and I was like, I think that a lot of people fell into that. I think a lot of people lost their way when that Ryan Garcia thing. And I think that Devin didn't help his case with the Jose Ramirez fight. That fight was boring as fuck. Okay? And Devin sucked in that fight. I don't care little bit of combinations he did. Devin was terrible in that fight. He was fucking trash in that Jose Ramirez fight. But every great fighter has a fight or two that you're not firing on all cylinders. You have that off night or that one night that you're ringing down and you start running around the ring for as good as ringing down is as of a fighter when he wants to fight. We've seen these situations when Shakur Stevenson gets cracked against Edwin De Los Santos and all of a sudden he took the fight right out of him. He doesn't want to exchange. Every fighter has those fights. And I always told you guys, I'm willing to give Devin Haney that performance against Jose, and I'm willing to look past it. I'm not going to hold them to that performance. I've always said that. You guys know me on my show. I said it. And it might sound like, wow, Edwin really likes Devin Haney. No, I'm just speaking the truth on the kid. He's not my favorite fighter, Devin Haney. I'm not a fan of him. I love all boxing. Devin Haney, I just call it like I see it. This is how I truly see him. That's it. I see hundreds of boxers in different ways. And I'll explain the way I view that boxer. And I was trying to tell you that no, I didn't have Devin Haney on my pound for pound list. No, I didn't. Not yet. I didn't even, I had Shakur Stevenson way down there. But just like Shakur Stevenson, Devin Haney has the right and the ability to move higher up with every performance. The one good thing about Devin Haney, you can truly say he has names on his resume. He has names. Can Tank say that? Can Shakur say that? Can Tio? Kind of, sort of, right? Devin can say that. Devin has some pretty good names on his resume already, and he's still building. He's now the WBC World Title champion, right? I'm sorry, the WBO. Sorry, did I say WBC? Yeah, because I'm thinking about Ryan, because he's gonna go there. He has the WBO now, Devin Haney, and what it's looking like to me is a showdown between Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney, but Ryan Garcia has to do his part once again. I remind you that as soon as that the people start saying conspiracy theory, why their guy didn't win, why this guy didn't win, if everything was conspiracy theory and Turkey Al-Sheet was selling and buying these fights, then damn it, why didn't Ryan Garcia beat Rolly? He had one of the most $1 million, lucrative, multi-million-dollar fights in the rematch while it was in hot. And Ryan was coming off suspension. Okay? They needed one fight in between to sell you that massive fight. Ryan Garcia didn't do his part. That's boxing for you. When boxing reveals the truth, we'll set the fights up, but you got to do your part and win. We're not helping you on the win. If it was true, Turkey had the event, New York City, those were his judges. They would have saw it for Ryan somehow. I seen Virgil Ortiz get dropped twice in a fight and still win the fight. So don't tell me that they won't do this shit. I seen O'Shaughnessy Foster lose to a Conceiao, and I didn't think he won one round in the entire fight. That when they made the announcement, they booed, but they didn't care. They still gave it to Conceiao and then gave him the rematch. So don't sit here and say, well, it wasn't close enough, because they'll do whatever they want if they're cheating. If they're cheating and Turkey was setting up these fights, there would have been no speed bump. Ryan should have won. No. They put you in position. They give you the money, but you got to do the rest, because even though Ryan lost, Turkey won. Look at all the other fights he's putting together. Look at Devin. Look at everybody else. He's still got Ryan now with Mario Barrio. Turkey always wins. I try to tell y'all, all this conspiracy theory about boxing, the best course of action in a boxing match, let nature take its course. Let nature take its course. Stage shit, fake shit. Boxers don't know how to fall right. Phantom punch. There was this post of a guy getting clipped. It looks like from one angle the punch misses him and that his shoulder knocks the guy out. They show the other angle of the camera, and lo and behold, the punch they thought that missed actually hit him behind the ear. And the shoulder missed completely. So different angles, different show reveal. In this situation, the punch never even landed. Yeah, so like guys are like, just let nature take its course. Let them fight, and boom, the winner's gonna be the winner. Man, I keep looking at this shit my girl brought me, and I'm pretty impressed. Yo, it's the bub, right? If you're ever in Worcester, Good Kemp, Flour, and these are apes right here. They also got CBD oils and everything there. Everything. They got hash concentrated. I think they're the only ones in Massachusetts that got like they grow their own. She talks about it all the time, right? But this is an eighth, is what it looks like, right? and you get it, you open it. This one's kind of empty anyway, but it's an eighth. It's only 3.5, right? Little can like that, bad. So today she brought me what they're starting to do, and they got these in today. And I was like, bam! I was like, baby, there better not be flour in that can. In that, what is that? Look at the size of this thing, right? Look, eighth. And what is this, right? Yo, show enough, bro. That shit is like, that's a zip. That's an OZ. 1 ounce OG, 1 ounce OG Kush breath. India. Indica. I'm sorry, Indica. Damn, my eyes are bad, man. For relaxing. Yeah, that shit is crazy, bro. I'm like, baby, man, that's a whole zip right there. I was like, yo, yeah, keep them coming right there. That shit's crazy. I keep looking at it like, man, I gotta go test that out later. Right there. Me and you, we got a date. I'm gonna get some papers and I'm gonna dispose of you joint by joint. You know what I'm saying? Because we gotta get rid of it. You know what I mean? Yo, but yeah, let me read some of y'all comments. I get crazy sometimes. I get to talking and shit. Let me see. Salute everybody in the chat. Salute everybody joining the live stream. What's up? His KO ratio will tell what's up front line. Of if he's what? Now I see why Ness be cause on your ass out. Cussing my ass out. Why? Because I've been talking about Naoya inoue. What's up, OC the boss? What up, bro? And I be cussing Ness out too. What? Ness cussing me out. He shut up. Devin Haney loves. Suckers watch what? Watch out. Suckers watch out. Suckers watch out. Devin Haney has snack power. Nah, he doesn't have snack power. Devin doesn't have snack power. In fact, his power hasn't gone up, really. He might have put Brian Norman Jr. down. He also put Regis Progress down. But he didn't finish Regis Progress and he didn't finish Brian Norman Jr. So where's this snack power that you're talking about? I just think that he's the same power that he's had. Devin has like being hit with a hammer, not a sledgehammer. Tank Davis got a sledgehammer for a punch. Naoya Inoue got a sledgehammer for a punch. Devin Haney's got a hammer. So you take your pick. Would you rather get hit one time with a sledgehammer or all night with a hammer for 36 minutes? You pick. Because look at Brian Norman Jr.'s face. Look at Regis Progress's face. Look at Loma's face. Look at everybody's face that Devin Haney fights. Look at George Cambosa's face. You're going to sit here and tell me that Devin doesn't have punching power, but you're not looking at the evidence. You're just hearing the jokes that people are making about. And that's why you guys were so blindsided. Because you guys even believed in the fact he has no punching power. And I don't know why so many people believed it. Because it's not true. Yeah, he don't have one punch knockout power, but that does not mean you don't have a multiple punches power. 6, 7, 8 punches in a row. Boom, boom, boom. Put you down. Devin can put you down. But Devin's Canelo Alvarez. Canelo Alvarez, he started knocking dudes down. And once he knocked them down and got up in the fight, he would coast. He would play it safe and then try to invite you to come through the front door because you're behind on the scorecards. Now he can fight off the back foot and catch you coming in quicker than fighting on the front foot and taking chances. That's all. Saul Canelo Alvarez made a career of doing that. And when Devin does it, oh, he's running or he's pillow fisted or he's this. And I'm like, don't be blinded to the boxer that he is. He's slightly better than a lot of these other guys. Not saying Devin's the best in the world, but I can see he's a little better than these dudes. And that's why I was like, yo, you know what? At the end, when we were picking it, I was like, yeah, I got Devin unanimous decision. That's what exactly should happen. I knew it. And I told y'all this is what's gonna happen. I did how many times I've said this? You heard me say this. I said what's gonna happen is this. Devin's gonna start out real good in the fight. He's gonna get up in the first half of the fight. Brian Norman Jr. is gonna feel like the fighting's just starting to slip away from him. And he's gonna have to turn it up. At that point, I felt like that would be the most dangerous version of Brian Norman Jr., which speaks to him blistering forward, strong punches, and a relentless attack. What is Devin Haney the most weakest at? Fighting going backwards. He chooses in any sequence and anything. I don't give a fuck what you do to Devin Haney. If you throw a 1-2 at him, he's going to shell up and go backwards. Whether he slides, whatever position he's in. But the one thing he doesn't do is exchange. Devin Haney, find me a reel where Devin Haney's going backwards and he throws a punch. I want to see it. And what fight has he ever done that? And I mean ever. I've never seen it. So I said to myself that that's where Brian Norman Jr. would be the most dangerous. But boy, did Devin Haney nullify that shit. Yo, he took his power good. He moved with it. He grabbed when he needed to. He pushed off. He created distance. And I felt like, now, did I say that Devin Haney can knock out Brian Norman Jr.? No. What did I call? I said unanimous decision. Devin Haney. What was it? Unanimous decision. Devin Haney. That's the way the fight played out is exactly the way I saw it. And people are going to say, Brian Norman Jr. sold out. No, he had a bad night. He was outgunned, outmatched, and he didn't understand it. He couldn't believe it. He was frustrated. He got knocked down, and he decided to fight one way in the fight. It happens to young fighters and big moments. You got to learn from this. He's like all of 23 years old. Well, tomorrow, that the next day was his birthday. He just turned 24. Brian Norman Jr. Right? Happy birthday, champ. Right? And I think that Brian Norman Jr. is going to be a champion again. He's so young. This was just a learning curve. And these are the fights that had Tank Davis, Teofimo Lopez, Shakur Stevenson, Devin Haney, and the Ryan Garcias of the world would have fought and had the balls to fight when they were in their prime, when they were young like that. Some of these guys would have some losses too. Teo might have a loss. Devin might have a loss. Shakur might have a loss. Tank might have a loss. They all, if they would have fought what Brian Norman Jr. did, he fought the biggest fights early, or at least he's trying to. There's a start. You win, lose, or draw. You enter the ring with Devin Haney. You know who the fuck Devin Haney is? He's a 3-division world champion, undisputed world champion, the youngest in boxing history. That's who you shared the ring with. So far, that's who you have on your resume. And Brian Norman Jr. will continue to build on that. He will continue to build on it. These are two great American fighters right here. Brian Norman Jr., man, shouts out to you, man. Champ, you did good. It wasn't your night. You fell short. You know, you had an off night. I heard you talk about it. But you'll be back. You'll be back. And to Devin Haney, And the new. And the new. Congratulations, young man. You proved to the world you're still here. And the Devin Haney era is still alive and kicking. He's still undefeated. We can still get that Ryan Garcia smoke. You know? So, look, maybe it's true. As I sit here and I contemplate whether or not Devin Haney should give Ryan Garcia the rematch. Zab Judah and Ness, from the Boxing Voice, are in agreement that they should not give Ryan Garcia a rematch. I think that Zab Judah convinced Ness to see it in a different light, but I think the real light that Zab Judah sees it in is that little old saying, styles make fights. I think Ryan Garcia's style is Devin Haney's kryptonite. His awkward jitter movements and his quick snapping reflexes don't make sense. You're not supposed to be that sloppy, that accurate, that fast. See? And sometimes there's a particular style. You fought a guy one too many times, and he's too familiar with you. He's too familiar with your tails, the way you do things. Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney got a lot of boxing history. And when you fought a guy that many times, you guys know each other. I think Zab Judah is on the side where Devin shouldn't give him another shot because he cheated, because he's making all those excuses because of the truth behind Zab Judah's words. I believe he doesn't believe Devin can beat him. He believes that Ryan Garcia, believe it or not, is the one man that can beat Devin Haney on any given night. He thinks that Devin can beat him too. You know, like they split 3-3 in the amateurs. So it can go either way. That's a real true 50-50 chance. You're not just going to walk in there, Devin, and just beat up Ryan Garcia. And I think Zab Judah sees that. And I think that he recognizes styles make fights. Ryan Garcia's style is not good for Devin Haney. But the elite fighters, the better boxers, Devin can beat those guys. They're doing the dance the way it's supposed to. They're boxing, moving. Devin's catching a beat on them. But those awkward guys that do awkward shit, that are not dancing the way you were trained to waltz, those are the guys that give you trouble. And a guy with that much awkwardness, that familiarity with you, and that can punch like Ryan, yeah, that's not a good recipe. I would stay away from that. And then I would make up a campaign that I shouldn't give you an opportunity because you're a cheater. I'm not going to say that I think I'll lose to you. No. That doesn't sound right as a champion. You can't come out and say that. So hey, Zab, get up there and say something. Start something up so I can start spitballing this, why I can avoid from getting out of that Ryan Garcia fight. Because to tell you the truth, Devin doesn't need it. He doesn't need Ryan Garcia. A lot of people would like some closure, but he really doesn't need him. He doesn't. After that Rolly loss, Ryan fucks around and loses to Mario Barrio. He's done. He's done. And then Devin can just definitively, really walk past Ryan and make it seem like, nah, I don't want to fight him because he's a bum now. And just go. Because Ryan's too familiar with Devin. That's a real big threat right there. Yeah, he knows him too good. He's not scared of him. Nothing. And then you got the first fight when they meet. You know what I mean? I would avoid Ryan. Fuck it. You're making good money. Beat everybody else. Uh, maybe somebody else will take him out the equation, like Mario Barrio, and then Devin, you can go fight Mario Barrio. I didn't want to see him fight Manny Pacquiao. Devin, I just didn't want him to be the one to do it, to beat up Manny Pacquiao. That's all. It's a good fight. You get Manny Pacquiao on your record. Shit, Devin, that's a great name. Fucking Manny Pacquiao. Wow. Uh, you shared the ring with him at the age. I get it. Um, does anybody consider Hector Camacho being the first man to knock down Sugar Ray Leonard? Does he get credit for knocking down Sugar Ray Leonard, Hector Camacho? Because they fought up there in age, right? So does Devin get credit for if he stops Manny Pacquiao, which would be him being at 47 years old? So I don't think that was a win-win for Devin. That's why I was thinking just stay away from that. I don't know how the fans would take that. And if you were the one to, like, are you going to beat your chest because you knocked out a 47-year-old? I mean, his name is great. The payday would even be great. Manny Pacquiao and you, Devin, yeah, you guys will make a nice coin in that fight. I can't lie. That I can't deny that. Uh, in that sense, I guess fight him, but like morally, I didn't want to see that. I think Devin's gonna beat him bad. Uh, Manny Pacquiao. It'll be like when Manny Pacquiao beat up Oscar De La Hoya. It'll be the same fight. But this time, the guy that'll get all bloodied up will be Manny Pacquiao. Yeah, it'll be what he did to Manny, to him with Devin. That's all I see. And I just didn't want. I like Manny Pacquiao, man. I think he gave a lot of blood to the sport. I respect that man so much. He's a fucking legend. And I don't want to see him get hurt. Nah, not like that. Devin's too strong, man. I think so. Devin's not Mario Barrio. And then worse, if you was to put him in to fight Rolly's ass is so checked out that he'll go in there and try to kill Manny Pacquiao. Show him no respect. He'll just be like, oh, yeah, destroy. Like, you know? But I don't know. I was willing to let Rolly do it. See, Manny, fucking Mario Barrio. Mario Barrio, you were supposed to take care of this. You're supposed to beat up Manny Pacquiao and show him that he doesn't belong, but beat him up in a way that he goes back with a little bit of pride, a little bit of money, and just, Manny, come on, retire, bro. You're almost 50 years old. In a pro, you're not 51 like me, fighting in some amateur shit with 3 rounds. That's tough enough. Fucking almost 50 years old, and you're fighting a real world champion? That's got to be tough. Mario Barrio, you were supposed to just whoop his ass, send him home with a nice bag, and that would have been the end of it. But no, you made him feel like he got in a fucking fight. Wait a minute, I was this close from winning. I can do this again. Why, Mario? Why couldn't you just do us a favor, man? I don't know. And if Manny Pacquiao really needed the money, Manny Pacquiao, please, for the love of God, stop ruining your legacy. Take a page out of Floyd Mayweather. Do exhibitions. They pay just as much. I know in an exhibition you fought some kickboxer dude and got your ass kicked, but pick out your guys. Do a little homework. You should have picked out old boxers. You and Pauline Marginali should have went out there instead of Polly going to the bare knuckles, and you would have went out there and beat up on Polly. You would have made a few bucks just because of you. Your name would have sold. You know, instead of Floyd Manny Pacquiao, you could have went and pulled out another old legend or something. I know you probably shopped around, they didn't want to do it, but somebody, and just do an exhibition And another old big name where they don't ruin and show them that they're not going to get a loss on their record. I bet they would have been up for it then. But you wanted to make it a pro fight. I think that's where you went wrong. That's why I like Floyd. Floyd did it smart. Floyd said, I'm going to get back in the ring, but I'm not going to jeopardize my body of work. I'm not going to jeopardize what it took me a lifetime. That's a 20-year career right there, what Floyd put together. You know, for him to just jump in the ring, he said, man, I can still jump in the ring and pull millions and do an exhibition. And he did. He did exactly that without tarnishing his record. Very smart man. Very, very smart man. Wow, let me put down 25. What? 25 what? Tank has massive power, George. Yeah, that's why he is a draw like he is. Because in most Tank Davis fights of late, besides the Lamont Roach fight, when is it that you ever came up and watched a Tank Davis fight that went to a scorecard? You don't watch a Tank Davis fight to go to the scorecard. We all know this. He knocks everybody out. That except Alexis Rocha. That's it, right? And then think about Tank's situation. He doesn't fight Lamont Rocha, right? And then he goes to try to fight Jake Paul, right? He tries to fight him. Then he fumbles that bag. So now Lamont Rocha is fighting Isa Pitbull Cruz. And Jake Paul is fighting AJ. By the way, can anybody tell me what the fuck Tank Davis is doing? Can anybody out here in the chat tell me who's Tank Davis' next fight? Is he hitting the rematch? Like, he gave up one bag to chase another bag for that bag to fumble the bag. So at the end of the day, what bag did he get? And who is Tank fighting? As a matter of fact, has anybody heard about Tank Davis doing anything besides kidnapping women, hitting women in a car, smacking women, getting domestic charges or lawsuits? Besides that, does anybody know what he's doing? I want to know. I'm curious. Tank Davis pissed me off as a fan. I was a big fan of Tank Davis. I love Tank Davis, man. I love his explosiveness. I love his fighting style. I like a lot of things about Tank Davis. I love his fucking demeanor, his character, his persona. He's everything fighting, Tank Davis. And this motherfucker for the last 10 fights has left me with excuses after excuses after excuses. And we are the fans. We're the guys that pay for your tickets, the pay-per-views. We're the fans. We deserve respect too. When it gets to the point where you say about your fighter, I don't care who he's fighting, they got you. When you say, I don't care who Tank Davis fights, I just want to see him fight, they got you. That's when you're saying you no longer care for anything. You don't hold your fighter to a higher standard. They can do anything, no wrong. I just want to see him fight. If you cared for your fighter, you would say, no, I don't want none of these fucking tomato cans or cab drivers. I want to see him fighting the best. I want to see him fighting this guy. That's when you care. That's when you hold your fighter to the higher standard and you say, no, if you're the best fighter, I want you to fight that guy, him, like that. Because you care about what they say about your fighter and who your fighter is. And you're not going to allow him to walk around and just claim to be the best. Tank Davis, rather than actually being the best. Devin Haney. Tank don't got nothing on Devin Haney. Like nothing. And for some strange reason, I still think Tank Davis would give him a hell of a fight. But why doesn't he have the accolades? Why doesn't he have the awards? Why doesn't he have the belts? Why isn't he doing anything that we want him to do or we would actually like to pay to see to watch? Why is he doing everything we don't want but asking us to stay fans? I snapped when Tank Davis came out and said, I'm thinking about retirement. Retirement, motherfucker. I supported your career this long. I followed you. I argued about you in barbershops, on TV, on platforms. I argued for you as a fan because I believed in your skills and your pedigree. For you to turn around and spit it in my face and say you're going to retire and make me look like an idiot because I was out in these boxing streets vouching for you, Tank Davis. And you gave me nothing. Nothing. You ain't fought no 13 world champions, 10 world champions, 9 world champions. Give me something. You ain't got belts in 3 divisions. You're not the youngest, undisputed. Give me something to argue. Give me something to tell the world what I see. But you know what they say? You say all of that, Edwin. Where's your proof? Who did he fight? And he didn't even beat Lamar Roach. Who do you have? And I'm stuck out here on the fucking cold in these tank streets because it's cold out here. And this motherfucker's over here got the bling bling, got the women, everything. He looked like he eating great. And ain't giving us the fans nothing to talk about. He left me out in the cold. So I walked away. I'm not going to stand out there that long waiting for you. Now I'm sacrificing myself, my own integrity, my own beliefs, and making myself look stupid for you. I lost my way. As a fan and as a people that help you buy that watch, that chain around your neck, that house you live in, we deserve something too. And I'm stop making excuses for these fighters. 1 or 2 fights, okay, Devin Haney. I gave you 1 or 2 fights. I swore to God, if you didn't show up in this fight against Brian Norman Jr., I'm walking away. Because it is what it is. I won't keep arguing for you because I was wrong. I don't think I'm wrong about Tank as far as skill, but I know I was wrong in him about legacy and about what the fighter I once viewed him as and where I thought he would go. When Floyd Mayweather at that time that said he's the next, they said, Floyd, is he the next thing? You're motherfucking right. Right then and there, I was like, boy, we about to see how many divisions now? How many man, I was already counting the belts. And he didn't get none. Them 2 phony baloney belts, man. I mean, the WBA, you know how I feel about it. It's still a belt. It's still a belt. He had an IBF 2 at 130. But it's the same division, 130. He had 2 belts there. He lost 1 on the scale, got the other one, 2 divisions. He beat Frank the Ghost Martin when he got elevated from Devin Haney's belt on the WBA from the regular to full status, super status. And on the night he fought Frank the Ghost Martin, once Tank Davis beat him, he became a 2-division world champion. Technically, yes. Even though Frank the Ghost Martin was never a world champion, he had a warm body in the ring. He had an opponent. The only thing you can say about Frank the Ghost Martin that he was undefeated. He wasn't ready for Tank. He wasn't on Tank's level. He was scared of death for Tank in the ring. We all saw it. Um, he tried his best. Tank was just too good, and that's been Tank's mo. Basically, beating okay average fighters, but not beating the top of the food chain. And he let me down, man. Tank let me down. That's it. Nah, Tank fled the country. You crazy. Tank's just killing time. You know, the crazy thing is that when you're young and you get money, you quickly think that 10 million, 12 million, 30 million dollars, you're good. What you don't account for is your lavish lifestyle. The going out every day with the crew. You got 10, 13 people with you. That's 13, 12 plates of food. That's 13, 12 entrants. That's 13, 12 fucking whatever you're buying, bottles or whatever. And day in, day out, plus your monthly payments on probably your Ferrari, a lot of these fighters have to return back to the ring. Manny Pacquiao. That I don't understand, but same shit. And they start to notice that they weren't safe. They didn't know how to really work with the money. And they say to themselves, if I had to do it again and I had that money again, I would be smarter. But there is a way you can get that money back, get back into the ring. Then all of a sudden, you see fighters like Tank Davis fighting 40, 42, 43 years old when they shouldn't have been doing that. Tank Davis, you know, I don't think he made all that much money, to tell you the truth, where I think that he could just, being the fact that even in 2024, he wasn't the sixth highest paid athlete in boxing. I put that up for you guys. He wasn't even there. In 2025, he made no money. 2023, he had the Ryan Garcia fight, which is probably his biggest bag. But without Ryan Garcia, what fight did Tank Davis get in where he made $23 million, $24 million? Please let me know. He didn't make that kind of money with Lamont Roach. Hell no. The only fight that Tank Davis made mad money in is that Ryan Garcia fight. That's it. What other fight did he make that was like, who? You think he made $20, $30 million fighting Ghost of Frank Martin there? No. I heard they split the pot 50-50 or some shit. Nah. Nah. Hold up. Nah, he didn't split the pot with Frank the Ghost Martin. He split the pot with Ryan. He underpaid Frank the Ghost Martin. Is that what happened? I gotta go check my memory on it. I forget how a lot of these situations go. Sometimes I forget them, but nah, hell no, bro. I don't think he really made that much money, to tell you the truth. I don't. But I could be wrong because the PBC have been known to pay their fighters substantially, and Tank was getting pay-per-view money. That's different kind of money. That's a different kind of money in itself. You can be paying like your purse can be like fucking $3 million, and on pay-per-view you can make upwards of 20 million. That's a number and a price tag that Devin has a privilege to, that I don't know about all too well. Like I can add up Devin's gates, Devin's purse. They're not going to add up to that much money. But that's not where he made his money probably. Tank Davis probably made his money in pay-per-view. And he's probably got a lot more money than I think so. It could be a situation like that, yes. So I might have to retract that. He might have some serious money. But you never know. Like a lot of these guys, Trinidad had $90 million. $90 million. He's broke. Like Mike Tyson had 120 at one time. He went broke, then went up to like 60, then went broke again. Then he went up to like Mike Tyson's had money, been broke so many times though. It's ridiculous, but like real money. I'm talking he had like 30 million, lost like half of that or some shit, and then went up to like 60, 70, and then he went up to like 120, then lost all of that. Then he bounced back up to like somewhere like 40. Then he lost that. Then he like just got paid with the Jake Paul with 20 million. And he made like some other like investments. So Mike is back up again. But 120 million. What are you buying with 100? It's like I said, what are you buying? Space shuttles? Fucking Mike was buying tigers and lions and bears. Oh my. Fucking Mike. This dude, he was doing ridiculous shit though, I gotta admit. I heard more than one story where Mike Tyson got into a fender bender or saw somebody like on the side and threw him the keys to his Rolls Royce, just gave him the car. He gave a cop a car too, but the cop couldn't keep it as a gift because he was on duty or something, right? And he had to give the car back or some shit. Mike's done that a lot of times. He's done shit like he's been driving in a Rolls Royce and he's give the car away to a person. So yeah, but 100 million, that would be hard, bro. I wouldn't even know where to start to spend that much money. Like, I mean, you could go out, I guess, and buy a stupid huge house and do some dumb I guess, I suppose. I guess you could do some dumb shit like that, right? Jesus Christ, man. Man, I had 10 grand in a shoebox one time, and it took me a long time to spend that shit. I was like rich forever with just 10 grand. I felt like I was rich forever, man. I didn't. I was just like until you realize later on when you pass 10 grand, like constantly, like 10 grand wasn't that much money. You're like, damn. But when I first got there, I was like, yo, this is like I felt like I was in hiding Fort Knox in my house. Like that. It's crazy. Little lottery ticket hit, cashed it in, had that with my girlfriend, and we were just like in the house, like didn't know what to do with it. Just leave it like that. But then, like, you know what I mean? It's just money. Money is funny like that, you know? But yeah, Devin right now, as a matter of fact, speaking about money, who would you guys like to see him fight next? And what direction is he going to go in from here? And what fighter could he get in the ring and bring a dollar value to the fight? I think honestly, if Devin fights any more of the champions, being that the fact that I guess Mario Barrio got this worked out with Ryan Garcia and however true that is, right? Um, if that's true, okay, cool. Then you'll take Mario Barrio out of the equation, right? Lewis Crocker and Rolly is the other champion, right? At 147. So it's Lewis Crocker, it's Rolly, it's Devin Haney, right? And Mario Barrio. Those are the four champions. So if Mario Barrio is fighting against uh Ryan, I mean, Devin Haney, uh a good money fight. Uh all right. You guys know what I feel about the Manny Pacquiao situation. For as crazy as it sounds, right? Jack Catterall, he's on a hot streak. He has a new look with Bozy Ennis. A lot of people have been saying and talking about his last knockout performance and the way he's the 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 Ennis, the Jerron Bruce Ennis style is rubbing off on him. Um, Tough, interesting fight right there. I for Devin. Um, uh, for one, I think he's the number one contender to Devin's belt. Actually, the number one's like vacant, right? And then he's like number two, but technically he's number one, right? So I'm not sure if he would be considered the mandatory to Devin's belt, right? For the WBO. Jack Catterall would be a good fight, I think, for him. Um, I would stay away from Karen. Something's off about him and his style. That Karen dude can fight. He can fight. Yeah. He's one of those surprises. Surprise, motherfucker. That's Karen. You are not going to know how good he is until you're actually in the ring with him. Yeah, he's hard to explain to the casual boxing fan, but trust me when I tell you, take my word for it. I know what I see in Karen. He's that dark horse. Karen Kachukuich can upset you on any boxing night. He's that kind of fighter. He's he's got good timing. His timing is his best attribute. His placement, his accuracy is even better. Right? His accuracy, when he does throw punches, he's landing. He's a crafty fighter. He's a crafty fighter. He doesn't look like he looks like a tough guy, but not like a boxer fighter type dude. He doesn't look like a boxer puncher at all. He takes me like one of them Russian dudes that are tough, right? But they're beatable. They got kind of like this one kind of like most of the guys I view like that are in UFC though. I guess the Arthurs of the boxing are proving that to be different, you know? So but Karen, stay away from him. Devin, stay away from that dude. I think you could box circles around him too. There is a part of a story that you do box circles around him, but there is another version where he might give you a problem. Yeah. He does certain things in the ring that I saw it do against Jerron Boots Ennis, and that's why Jerron Boots Ennis had so much problems with him. He couldn't figure him out. Yeah, he was tricky. He was tricky. Liam Paro's another good fight. I like that fight. Um, Rohan Polanco. I don't think he's ready for Devin. It would be a good fight by names. Give Rohan Polanco a couple more fights. He'll be ready for Devin. I'll be comfortable with him with Devin. But just give Rohan the same opportunity Devin had to learn. Just don't rush him in there. I know durability, tough wise. Rohan will fight Devin right now in a back alley. But I just don't think he's just ready for Devin. Give Rohan a little bit of time, prepare him more. Then let's meet up that fight with Devin, and I'll be ready for that. Devin got Ben. Ben don't deserve that fight against Devin. Who did Connor Ben beat to deserve a Devin Haney fight? Give me a second. Think about that. Put it in the chat. Let me go use the bathroom real quick. I'll be right back. Where were we? Where were we? Devin versus Pac-Man? Yeah, I talked about that. I don't really want that fight. I just don't want Devin to be the guy to beat up Manny Pacquiao. He deserves a fight like that, a name like that. Yes. Does Devin deserve that fight? Yeah. Um, is it a big money fight? Yeah. Would it make sense? Yes. Would I want to see it? Because I just don't want it. I didn't want it to be Devin to 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 do that to Manny Pacquiao. I just didn't want it to be him. Because for all the scrutiny that Devin got, I just in my head, I'm like, they're gonna find a way to spin this to make this be Devin's fault. Manny Pacquiao's old ass wanted to get in the ring, and he was saying he wanted to smoke. Then when you give him the smoke, all of a sudden Devin becomes the bad guy. You know what I mean? I was just like, come on, Dev, you're just starting to turn things around. I didn't want you to be the used hitman. Like these people were getting Devin to do their dirty work. You understand? They were getting Devin to do their dirty work and shit. And then somehow Devin gets backlash for beating up Manny Pacquiao. Oh, Devin, you shouldn't have knocked him out like that. Manny Pacquiao's in the hospital now. Concussion and shit. And you know what I mean? So I was just like, nah. I didn't like the way it sounded. I didn't like the way it was being brought up with Devin, with Manny Pacquiao. And I was just like, Dev, I think you might want to stay away from that fight. That was just my opinion. If he could go through with it, that's his choice. Maybe nothing comes out of it. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Maybe he beats him in a way that people respect him and respect Pac-Man. Yeah, there is a possibility that that happens. Just because what I'm thinking and I'm nervous for him in certain area doesn't mean that that's going to happen. Right? So, yeah. And there is a world where, yeah, the Manny Pacquiao and Devin Haney fight would make sense, and rightfully so. Devin deserves it. Yes, there is a world that exists. I just, you know, that's why you come here to Round One Sports Talk, because I give you a different insight. I bring up the same things they're talking about, but I hope that I present things in a different light. And I hope that I present things in a different way, so that, that we're not all talking about the same fucking thing. We could see this through other viewpoints and other people's opinions. You see? So there's my viewpoint on the Devin Haney, Manny Pacquiao saga debacle there. And I'll just leave it like that. Whether or not you would like to see it, then you guys as fans got to let them know that that's a fight you're interested in, and they'll probably put it together. So it has to be something you guys are interested in. You know what I mean? Salute. Stand back and stand by. What up? Salute, brother. You know, um, he was talking about Connor Ben. Somebody put it in the chat about Connor Ben and Devin and stuff. Connor Ben could sit there and try to disrespect Devin Haney. He could sit there in the chair and say, "Oh, your fights are boring." Well, you know what's boring? Your fucking career, Connor Ben. How about that? Yeah, you don't got no world titles. I just found out you didn't even get no British world titles, no Commonwealth world titles. Shit, you got no kind of world titles of zero quality. You don't even got the lower ones. For you to sit there and talk about a 3-division world champion as boring? No, what's boring is your career. You've never been a champion. And at this rate, doesn't look like you ever will be sitting next to Ed Hearn. He'll try to snake you in a belt somewhere. Somewhere. Trust me. Ed Hearn is definitely on Connor's side there. Right? He's a fan. And Connor Benn and Ed Hearn could say all they want about our American Devin Haney, right? But it's all just ploys. Those are the kind of guys and those are the kind of people that put out these false narrative and rumors on these fighters that got these fans buying into it, and then they're the hype jobs. Remember, these are the same kind of people that said Naoya Inoue was a hype job. Well, is he? Nope. Same kind of people that said Devin Haney was pillow fisted. Is he? Nope. These are the kind of guys and promoters and snakes in the game that are throwing curveballs in the game. And if you're not careful, you don't decipher shit talking. And you don't start to question where you're getting your source from. Oh, that came from a guy sitting on the outside of your fight with his boxing promoter sitting next to him. Those two guys said that your fight was boring? What a coincidence. It's coming from the ops. You would say that. You're not on Devin Haney's side. At the end of the fight, what did Bill Haney say? Everybody say it all together now. Fuck Ed Hearn. Right? They're not on the same side. Man, I tell you. I've seen a lot of shit in boxing. This latest shit about Subir Matias really got me, man. It's crazy. It's like playing Clue. It's like, haven't we seen this movie before? Ryan Garcia tested positive in New York City for Austrian while fighting under the WBA while fighting a matchroom fighter. Subir Matias tested positive in New York City for Austrian for fighting under the WBC. Did I say WBA? WBC, right? And fighting a matchroom fighter. Same shit across the board. Just different name. Ryan Garcia and Subir Matias. Same place. New York City. Same bad time. Austrian. And same bad opponents. Matchroom fighters. And the same title. The WBC. Coincidence? Is there that much coincidence in the world? And then when you go to see Subir's test, what they found, the illegal limit, because of Saul Canelo Alvarez testing positive for Austrian and the WBC also raising their what you can have in your body for Austrian, right? Right? The legal limit is 0.1. You can't have over 0.10 or you have now tested positive for Austrian. What Subir Matias had in his system was 0.01, which technically, if I'm not mistaken, VADA should have never reported that because it's not even over a legal dose. So the New York Boxing Athletic Committee, I haven't seen anything them decide. That's the only people's word I'm taking on this. It's whatever they decide. And as soon as they launch their official, they're finding, because VADA, what they do is they announce their findings. They don't announce whether you're guilty or that they deem that there was enough in your body to suspend you or call you a cheater. That's not their job. Their job is only to report what they found. Now it's up to the New York Boxing Athletic Committee, the WBC, and the parties involved to determine whether or not to go forward with the suspension. Okay? So now it goes into the New York. So that's who we got to. But when you go to look up Sabriel's situation, to tell you the truth, he's not over the the dose amount to even consider him dirty. So that's what I gotta find out. Whether or not that's true or the dose amount, which one are we going off? Are we going off the WBC dose amount? Because that's the belt that's on the line. That's the belt that's on the line. That's the WBC's rules. The WBC raised the Austrian level because of Saul Canelo Alvarez. When they raised it, Tabir Matias is nowhere near that. Which means this should have never been brought up. But by bringing it up, it smears Sabir Matias' name. And to the people that said, nope, I heard he's dirty, I don't have to hear nothing else. Those are ignorant people. Now, all of a sudden, you should hear this. In some boxing circles, Sabir killed a man on Austrian. Now, it's not cool to make those kind of accusations because Mamet Dervichek has a family. And for Sabir to test like this, and I told you, this is not amateurs. This is a professional. There was an investigation launch after Sabir Matias got out of that ring. They did several things. They took his gloves, his hand wraps, a urine test, and a tube out of his blood. A tube of blood out of his arm. And they determined him to be clean. Because if Sabir Matias would have tested positive for anything, there would have been criminal charges brought up against you. A man lost his life. And for these guys to turn around and try to just slide that in there. Oh, we know how Sabir killed a man on this stuff. No, you guys are real disrespectful. And just because it's easy for you to say something to get views, clicks, and likes, you would rather tell a lie that you have no idea what you're talking about. You have no proof of that. No proof. And I know one thing for sure. Them people loved their son. And that coach loved his fighter. I don't think there's any coach or family that would just go along with, oh, our son died in the ring. We believe everything you have to say. No investigation is necessary. Go about your day. Yeah, right. They had to have launched their investigation and Sabir had to have been found innocent, in the clear. That's what had to have happened. So these people are pathetic and they want to kick you while you're down. And as you can see, fighters like Sabir Matias, Devin Haney, and some of these fighters have been on the back end of some bad smear campaigns to smear that guy's name because, and Naoya Inoue, he's been accused of steroids, rapping, hype job. You heard everything about Naoya Inoue, but the truth. And as soon as you get to see him and see the truth for yourself, the truth starts to reveal itself. You start to say to yourself, that's not a hype job. How many people lost money going into that Stephen Kubo Fulton fight in Naoya Inoue? How many people actually went into that saying that Japanese dude was a hype job? After that fight, they were pissed. I thought you said he was a hype job. That didn't look like no hype job to me. You mean to tell me a hype job won every single round against an undefeated, unified world champion? That's what a hype job does? Boy, that's one tough hype job. You see what I'm saying? So sometimes in the boxing world, we are guilty of taking in information and hearing things, forgetting where you heard it from, and then you hear it enough times, then all of a sudden it's the truth. It's the last thing that you remember about being told about that fighter. Devin Haney is pillow-fisted. Brian Norman Jr., you can walk through that power. He's not going to hurt you. And look what happened when he stood there. He didn't think he could hurt him. Whap, 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 whap. Down he goes. Brian, you fell for that? You fell for all that pillow fisted story shit? Really? You went for that. You mean to tell me your eyes didn't tell you your own story? You didn't look at Devin Haney's opponents after the fight? No? You're good with what they said. Try to walk through his power. That's what happened. Rather than accepting the fact you were lied to. You were lied to. You were deceived. You were led astray. From those fighters, that's what I mean, man. These guys is always talking these dudes up, man. Try to talk up Frank the Ghost Martin against Tank Davis when you guys all knew Frank the Ghost Martin wasn't on Tank Davis's level. Y'all knew that shit. Somehow, leading into the fight, Frank the Ghost Martin was in this fight. And to some people, he was going to beat Tank. That was a one-sided event. And they sold you the fight, didn't they? They led you astray. They had you hoping and wishful thinking. He could maybe pull off the upset. Psst, he wasn't even close. Wasn't even close. Lamont Roach, now he came close to beating Tank. He came, and if you would have awarded him that knockdown, he should have beat Tank. He should have beat Tank. He should have beat him. Should have beat him. Yeah, he should have beat him with that knockdown. Yeah, if you're counting the knockdown, yeah, he should have beat him with that. But without the knockdown, I think the right call was made a draw. I think it was made the right call. I went back and I watched that fight a few times and shit. It was back and forth. It was back and forth. You know? Yeah, I think the right call was made in that fight. What's up? Yo, buddy. Truth, you are doing good today, and I hope you are having a nice time over there. Are you there, man? Yeah, I'm here, bro. What up? Low Nose Boxing. Yo, Low always starts his chats with Tio. Notice that? He's a Tio and something. I gotta see what he says. I gotta see what he says. What? Tio, aka Slick Black Boxer. What's going on? This guy is crazy. Mm. Man, Low be straight up, man. Yeah, that's nasty work. What was I talking about? I was probably talking about something but I'm pretty sure you right. But yeah, these are all situations in boxing. I love a lot of these situations. Boxing is always evolving. Shout out to Abdullah Mason, one of our youngest American champions right now. Let's see where he goes from here. And he just squeaked out Xander. Xander was 22, so Xander is only 1 year older than Abdullah, and Xander, Abdullah, and whatever fucking happened to Bruce Carrington? Where the hell is Bruce Carrington? And why haven't we said his name in a little while? Because remember, it was Abdullah, Bruce Carrington, Xander, and Big Baby. Remember? They were all fighting on the top rank cards all the time. That's what made me think about fucking Bruce Carrington. Because Abdullah became one of the youngest champions, and Xander's another young champion, American champion. And Xander's looking for unification right now. He's going to fight for the WBA to unify that WBO world title that he has. Uh, and Xander has a WBO title, which is the Puerto Rico belt, rightfully so. Puerto Rican champion, born in Puerto Rico, 100% representing the WBO championship of the world to my man Xander. You know what I mean? That's cool. You know, I like that. Subriel still has the WBC, and I put up rightfully so the Puerto Rican gloves with the Puerto Rican flag on the WBC because of Subriel Matias, which he is the owner of the WBC world title. Not I know its base is out in Mexico, but right now he has that belt. So that's why I had that up there like that. And yeah, rightfully so. I just if any of you guys know anything about that and you can send me anything to the about Sabria Matias, drop it in my DMs and Instagram, Facebook or YouTube here, right here, or whatever. Just get it to me. If you see anything, send it to me. Cause I've been trying to pay attention to this, but make sure if you see something, if it's from somebody, reliable source, if it's just any content, don't bother. Don't bother. If it's a writer, I'll accept the writer's one, but those are just writers. What I'm really looking for is, like I said, the American Boxing Association's their statement, a statement from VADA, or a statement from the Fresh Production, which is Sobria's promotion, shit like that. Those kind of guys like that. So, fight fans, listen, fight fans. I hope you enjoyed your time here. Please subscribe to the channel. Please don't forget to give these videos a like, share the videos, uh, become a Round One Sports Talk member. And like always, I'm on to the next one after this one here at Round One Sports Talk. You guys have been the best. I'm your host, Edwin. Good night.